Om Tat Sat. My humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, to my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji Maharaj, to the Divine Mother, and all sages and saints, and to each of you divine soul watching today's satsang. We currently are studying the scripture, Mysticism of Devi Mahatmya, Worship of God as Mother. Commentaries by my Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So let's get started on the mystic meaning of the destruction of Shumbha and NIshumbha. So Devi cannot be owned, just as a doll made out of salt cannot fathom the depths of the ocean because it will dissolve in the ocean. Even so, Shumbha cannot own Devi because ego cannot attain self-realization. The self is attained when the little self is dissolved. The great I is attained when the little I is offered on the altar of intuitive knowledge. So thus the destruction of these demons. Self-realization is not an attainment in the world of time and space, because if it were like gaining an object, it would be subject to loss. Whereas self-realization is beyond gain and loss. It is something totally separate outside time and space, outside of this world. Self-realization is the revelation of the self with the destruction of ignorance and its closely related processes, amata and mamata, personified by Shumbha and NIshumbha. So you see how beautiful these mystical meanings are, the way Swamiji has explained it, because if we don't understand the subtle depths and depths of these teachings and try to improve our lives, we are missing the point. We are just, even as stories, they are very mystical, very beautiful, but to understand how to do our sadhana with this, how to constantly increase and go deeper into our spiritual experience. That is this unique gift from our Guru that we are all enjoying together. The citadel of egoism is the Anandamaya Kosha, or the bliss sheath, or the causal body. Just like there are three bodies, the physical, the astral, and the causal. So the citadel is in the causal body, or the Anandamaya Kosha. In lower samadhi, one enters into the astral or subtle body. In Sananda and Sasmita samadhi, one enters into the causal body, into the innermost depths of the chitta or the mind stuff. So this comes in stages. We have to gradually go deeper and deeper to enjoy this nectar. The Kundalini, having pierced the Agya Chakra, moves on to Sahasrara at the crown of the head. So we had then opened the Rudra Granthi, which is part of the Agya Chakra, and now it unites. The crown is the highest chakra that we can achieve. The yogi then enters the highest state of samadhi, and that is called Asampragyata Samadhi. In this state, the seeds of karma are burnt up, and the soul discovers its identity as the absolute self, or in other words, that is the state of self-realization or Jivan Mukti. The story of the Devi in this state refers to the spiritual battle in the causal plane. So there is still a battle going on at every level. When the Kundalini pierces the Agnya Chakra, Viveka Khyati, or intuitive knowledge, dawns upon the mind like the rising sun. And that is why we apply Chandan or Kumkum on our Agnya Chakra, so it is energized. The weapons discharged by the Devi and her numerous manifestations are the various mantras of the Upanishads. That's the mystical impact. Every mantra of the Upanishad is an arrow that destroys an evil operating through one's mind. Therefore, we say, infuse your life with spiritual sadhana and learn these holy mantras and so on, so our inside can become totally pure. Mahavakyas are the great utterances of the Vedas. Pragyanam Brahma, which means Brahman is pure consciousness. Then it is Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that. The third one is Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. And the fourth Vakya is I am Atma Brahma, the self is Brahman. These four utterances constitute the Mahavakyas, and each of them comes from each Veda, Rig Veda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, and Yajurveda, Veda, which are the mighty weapons yielded by the Devi. That's the mystic impact and meaning. When ignorance is destroyed, the bondage of the soul is released and it attains infinite expansion. So Jivatma is in bondage because it has attached itself to the ego and considers itself bound. In reality, it's never bound, it's ever free. But for it to realize that, we have to do all this sadhana. It becomes, at that point, when ignorance is destroyed, it becomes one with the Divine Mother, one with Brahman, the Absolute Self. So the gods abiding in the body in the form of shining forces of the senses become delighted. The vital airs flow with perfect harmony. The mind is filled with the nectarine vision of the self. The ocean of bliss surges, and the soul is immersed in bliss forever, never to come back into this transient process. So, for an enlightened yogi, the whole world is filled with the glorious manifestations of the Divine Mother. Glory, glory to Goddess Maha Saraswati. May she grant us unflinching devotion to her lotus feet. Om Aim Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Aim Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Aim Saraswatyai Namaha. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Om Tat Sat.